Hello, this is Candy from eyes2jesus.blogspot.com bringing you Anti Vlogmas for December 24th. And my husband's work is closed today, and my oldest work closed early today. So my husband and my oldest son are spending today working on cars together, which is pretty cool. And meanwhile, my three other children and I, we've been having our normal homeschool day. So while oldest and husband are working on cars, as you saw in my clip, I was working on some homeschool. The kiddos have their schoolwork done for the day, and we have a little bit of free time now before supper. So I thought this was a good time to finish up this video for the day. And my two younger boys are playing a game, and my daughter is currently making some peanut butter fudge because we just thought it'd be nice to have some type of nice sweet treat. And we did cookies last time, so we thought we would do fudge this time. These are not Christmas cookies. This is not Christmas fudge. This is something that we do year-round. And yeah, so let's move on to my Anti-Vlogmas message for today. We have established very clearly when we studied Jeremiah chapter 10 in yesterday's video that God very much doesn't want us having Christmas trees or partaking in the Christmas festivities in any way, shape, or form. And we've also established throughout this series that God is a righteously jealous God. The Bible says that over and over. You can search that up for yourself, that our God is a jealous God, and He wants our hearts to be perfect for Him, as was King David's heart. While Solomon's heart wandered and he started integrating parts from the false gods, King David's heart did not. King David never went after the false gods or after any of the ancient pagan religious traditions. And that's what God asks of us. And we also know God doesn't change. He hated His people, the Israelites, going after the pagan religious festivities in the Old Covenant, and He hates that in the New Covenant, which the New Covenant also refers to this as going after the traditions of man, such as in Colossians chapter 2, verse 8. So, we're going to look a bit more on Christmas in Christian church buildings, because most churches this time of year have one, two, or multiple Christmas trees up throughout their sanctuary. And I'm blessed that the church I go to does not, and I know that is in the massive minority, and I'm very appreciative of that. Probably wouldn't be going to church for the month of December otherwise. But yeah, most churches have at the bare minimum one Christmas tree up right now, if not multiple ones, and wreaths, and their Advent candle magic, etc. So, since these churches, the sanctuaries, are supposed to be dedicated to God as a house of worship where the ecclesia assembly can occur, where Christians can gather together to worship God, what does God think of this? Well, let's see. In the Old Covenant, in the Old Testament, the place of worship where the gatherings happened was at the tabernacle. So let's see what happens with this. So we're just going to go through some verses in Ezekiel chapter 8. So let's start with Ezekiel chapter 8, and let's look at verses 5 through 6, which says, "Then said he unto me, Son of man, lift up thine eyes now the way toward the north. So I lifted up mine eyes away toward the north, and behold, northward at the gate of the altar, this image of jealousy in the entry. He said furthermore unto me, Son of man, seest thou what they do? Even the great abominations that the house of Israel committeth here, that I should go far off from my sanctuary? But turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations." And we'll get into some of those abominations in a moment. So right there at the entry of the house of worship, at the entry of the altar, is the image of jealousy. So that it's like God should go far off from His sanctuary. Because what is the image of jealousy? Oh, it can be all sorts of different things. The image of jealousy is an idol. It is a religious image or idol that was for the false gods, that was being brought into the sanctuary. So in this Christmas season, and putting this in a modern context, a Christmas tree most certainly is an image of jealousy. And I think that was fairly established in yesterday's study. So let's move on in this chapter. Staying in Ezekiel chapter 8, let's look at verse 14. Then he brought me to the door of the gate of the Lord's house, which was toward the north. And behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz. Do you know what the days of the weeping for Tammuz are? That's Lent. That's Lent that leads up to Easter. And Lent is 100% pagan. The days of Lent originated with Tammuz. That's just another name for Baal. And then Easter is a celebration of Tammuz coming back to life. It's right there. It's the celebration of Easter. And Easter is another word for Ashtoreth, in case you don't know about that as well. So now we have in Ezekiel 8 verse 14, we have people in God's sanctuary celebrating Lent and Easter. Abomination. Okay, let's continue a bit further in this chapter, and let's continue in chapter 8 of Ezekiel and look at verse 17, which says, Then said he unto me, Hast thou seen this, O son of man? Is it a light thing to the house of Judah that they commit the abominations which they commit here? For they have filled the land with violence, and have returned to provoke me to anger. And lo, they put the branch to their nose. They put the branch to their nose. This is probably going to be like holly or evergreen branch. And evergreen trees, they smell pretty good. You got that nice pine scent. So what does that mean, they put the branch to their nose? Let's take a look at a few pictures that basically explains this. Here is an ancient Babylonian picture of Nimrod. And there's his branch that can be brought to his nose. That is also symbolic of the deified Nimrod with the ancient Christmas tree. And of course, he's holding a reindeer, because this is who Santa Claus is originally modeled after. You can kind of see the resemblance if you look at this carefully. And this is a widely known picture. You can see it in the two Babylons. This book is on the public domain, so you can read it for free online. Or you can just do a Google image search. It's everywhere. All right, and then let me just show you another picture. Here is another picture of another branch to the nose situation. And here we have the Queen of Heaven. We have the Babylonian Queen of Heaven as basically described in Jeremiah chapter 7. This is the true Roman Catholic Queen of Heaven. The true Roman Catholic Queen of Heaven is not the Mary of the Bible. She's got her golden cup in her hand. She's got her tree where she can bring the branch to her nose. Bringing the branch to the nose is because the branch is part of the evergreen tree, and the evergreen tree symbolizes who? Tammuz / Baal being born. Christmas, December 25th. So God didn't like people doing that then in the Old Testament in his sanctuary. Why would he suddenly change and like us doing it now? He still doesn't like it. You still have a chance to come out of Christmas. Christmas isn't until tomorrow. Have a blessed day.